With all the enthusiasm of Jim Ross, it's Friday night. You know what that means. Welcome, everyone, to Slice of Time on WrestleNet Radio. Nate Maxon here with you, along with my brother Aaron this week.
Hello.
And of course, this show we go through all the news and notes and results from 25 years ago in professional wrestling. Some weeks we have lots of news, some weeks we don't. This week's a little newsworthy.
Hopefully, if you're the Jim Ross, I'm not Excalibur.
No, you're not a douche in a mask. No, not Excalibur.
I'm outside.
So
It's windy. That's not picking up, is it? Because it feels great out here.
No, it's not picking up. It can't even.
Fall time in Ohio, bitches. It's the best place to be.
It's yes, it is, and this is the weather that I love. I hate summer. I am not a summer guy. I don't like getting up every single day and it's like the same fucking day over and over and over again. Oh, look, it's the sun and it's hot and I'm sweating. Yay. But yeah, I do love fall, even though it doesn't last long enough here in Ohio. I'm like Gene Hackman in the birdcage. Love the foliage. Beautiful foliage in Ohio. Well, this week we're talking about 25 years ago in pro wrestling, and the big story this week is or is not Bret Hart going to return to the WWF? This is September of 1996, of course, and let's see what's going on here with Bret. He fulfilled his final WWF commitment Saturday night in South Africa by defeating Steve Austin in the main event of a live national network television special. That match is actually on a DVD that I have. I can't remember if it's one of the unreleased DVDs or if it's one of the Bret Hart DVDs.
I think it's on that Bret. It's that one where Bret came back. Like there was that big photo on the internet where Vince and Bret were shaking hands, and they let Bret basically put together his DVD.
Okay.
With his matches. I'm pretty sure that's the one. Because he has that one, and then he has the Dungeon Collection. Like a nerd right now, but like when he came back, it was like, we want to do a DVD of you. And honestly, I think he, in his mind, was like, you guys did that Warrior DVD, and that was if I'm going to come back, you're going to let me dictate on this DVD, and that's
he was like, if you do the DVD without me, it's gonna be called Bret Screwed Bret. Well, yeah, it probably was on that one, but I remember the match and it was really good. Obviously, it's Bret Hart and Steve Austin.
He's full of his own shit, but he ain't stupid. I'll
right.
say that.
Of course, the WWF Weekend Television continued to hype Brian Pillman's claim that he would reunite Owen and Bret at the September 22nd Mind Games pay-per-view. On Raw, in an interview taped in South Africa, Bret refuted that report. I just want to say one thing, Brian Pillman, you're a liar.
Yeah.
And
get back together with my lousy, stinking brother. I love how Canadians talk. They're great. Can I say one thing about Canadians real quick?
Sure.
Long live the great fucking Norm Macdonald.
Yes. Rest in peace.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Norm. And actually, when we record the We Can't Wrestle podcast later this week, I actually have written down here, talk about Norm. So we are going to definitely do that this week on the show. Let's see. Jim Ross said Bret Hart is still under contract with WWF. Hopefully he'll be back in the ring soon. Ross's comments were less optimistic on the WWF 900 line on Monday night, and it's not known how much Ross was playing into a storyline or providing legitimate insight. Ross said Bret was very, very emotional in the locker room after his final WWF match Saturday night. Uncharacteristically, Ross added, quite frankly, Bret was very fortunate to beat Austin, and his tone of voice tended to downplay Bret's skills. The WWF had considered having Bret announce his retirement in mid-ring as part of a storyline, only then to be attacked by Austin and thus decide to return to the ring. One other source indicates that Bret did inform the WWF he doesn't plan to return to the ring again this year. Apparently, Bret's still upset over being used by Vince McMahon as a mere transition champion between Diesel and Shawn Michaels last year. believes, as many others have said, that he will be more of a value in the marketplace a year from now. The story of Brett, like with Brett between 93 and when he leaves in 97, there's always some drama. There's always some drama going on with the Hitman.
Yeah, he was always thinking that, and I don't want to hate on the guy because he's somewhat accurate, but like he never really felt confident in how he stood with that company at times.
Yeah, especially once. I think it goes back to the fact that every time it's almost Vince created a monster, because every time he made Brett the champion, he was always looking for the next champion. It's never seemed like, from a booking standpoint, Vince had that confidence in Brett to be the guy. So I mean, I can kind of see where maybe Brett would be a little paranoid.
And that's what I want to say. Like, is Brett his biggest fan? Yeah. But I also respect Brett in the fact that he was like, look, I know what my character is,
mm-hmm.
and I know where my bread and butter is, and I don't want anybody else to fuck with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And people were always kind of fucking with him. So I can understand where he was coming from, and they were always fucking with him because he always took himself too goddamn serious. You know what I mean?
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Vince McMahon has hired Jake Roberts to join the WWF front office staff part-time beginning later this month. He will work 2 or 3 days in Stamford with the booking committee. Roberts has earned a reputation for being a creative and smart mind for the business. He has shown interest in booking in the past and did so in Mexico for AAA 2 years ago. He joins Bruce Pritchard, Jim Ross, and Jim Cornette as McMahon's booking assistants. This doesn't last long for Jake.
Well,
but Jake
back into the smack.
Yeah, Jake is Jake's own worst enemy. Let's be honest. More WWF news here. We'll stick with WWF at the moment.
He does have a great mind for the business, and he is super creative. But I'm sure I believe him now, and I believe people now saying that he's not on it anymore. But
back in the day, I mean, you can't,
That's probably why Vince was like, "Hey, we'll bring him in, but only for a couple days because we know what's going to happen."
a couple days a week.
Yeah.
Part-timer, Jake.
Yeah.
In a move that blindsided Vince McMahon, one of his top 3 executives, J.J. Dillon, quit Friday, September 13th because Dillon didn't give any notice and had his office, the third biggest in the headquarters, packed before informing McMahon he was leaving. It lent credibility to indications that Dillon had grown frustrated with his role in the WWF, at times being the bad cop so McMahon could play good cop. In his nearly 8 years with the WWF, Dillon rose to vice president position that included taking part in virtually all high-level meetings McMahon held. So J.J. Dillon, he's out skis. And, we know he's going to show up in a little bit in the WCW.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. Do you believe Eric Bischoff or J.J. Dillon in their argument? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, but for the listeners, why don't you tell?
Eric claims that when JJ signed, he showed up and said, "Look, I have all of Vince's notes. I have all of Vince's books, the contracts. I have all of it, and I can just show it to you, and you can know everything that Vince is doing and all the contracts." And Bischoff said, "I think that's shit. I don't want to see it." Who do you believe? Because JJ didn't do it, and Bischoff said that JJ was like, "It's on the table, boss."
I believe J.J. Dillon, because I tend to think, even though they try to act like they're not, I think Vince and Eric are more alike than they admit. And I think a lot of times Eric, like Vince, likes to have He likes to form a narrative. There are stories, and I mean, think about it. He learned really how to politic in wrestling from Hulk Hogan, who, I mean, let's be honest, Hulk Hogan tells fucking fish tales like nobody.
Yeah.
You know, like he puts himself in situations where the person has been dead for 2 years, and he, but I tend to believe JJ in that instance. I think Eric.
Him saying I didn't do that.
Yeah, yeah. I think JJ was too old school to do something like that. Almost, you know, territories. Yeah, you jumped and stuff like that, but you didn't fuck each other like that,
Yeah, I might need to go back there next year.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think JJ would have done that. Plus, he's an office guy and he knows the legal ramifications of some things. And yeah, I think Bischoff's telling a big tale there.
I think he honestly, how do I want to say it? Took a kernel of truth and turned it into a story.
Yeah, like Hogan does.
Yeah, like I think JJ probably said, "Hey, I might know when this guy's coming up and this guy's coming up," and would honestly use that as a selling point, and that's wrestling. And JJ has kids and all that shit,
Right.
So I can say that JJ probably sold himself on saying, "Look, I have some inside knowledge of how the WWF is operating their business, and they're successful right now, and I can come over here and I can teach that to you and kind of give you that." But I don't think he was like, "Hey, this is when Shawn Michaels' contract's coming up, and this is when Diesel's contract," you know what I mean?
But what he could have said and not given away information is, so I have knowledge of when Shawn Michaels' contract is coming up, and I have knowledge of how much money he's making. So when that time comes, I will have knowledge to help you in your negotiations. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to give you the information, but I can use what knowledge I have to steer you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. All charges are dropped against the military men who attacked Shawn Michaels, British Bulldog, and Sean Waltman last year in Syracuse. There's not a lot of WWF news here. The 10-year retrospective edition of WWF Superstars, the final syndicated edition of Superstars, aired on September 14th. Gorilla Monsoon and Mr. Perfect hosted the show. They aired footage of departed wrestlers, including Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, the Steiners, Rick Martel, Bobby Heenan, Earthquake, Honky Tonk Man, Jacques Rougeau, Diesel, Razor Ramon, Rick Rude, Big Boss Man, Texas Tornado, Papa Shango, Jimmy Snuka, etc. So the last... For those of you who aren't as old as us or what have you, the final Syndicated Superstars was Saturday morning for us back in the day. Yeah. Get up. It was on at 10 p.m. on Fox 36 in Toledo, Ohio. Watch some Superstars.
And then the 3, you could watch Challenge. It was awesome.
Yes.
And then the Power Hour and Saturday night would come on. Fucking wrestling used to be awesome.
So then we have let's see here, some house shows. September 13th in Huntington, West Virginia. The Bushwhackers beat Justin Hawk and Zebekiah. T.L. Hopper beat Freddie Joe Floyd. Farouk beat Bob Holly. The Stalker beat Jerry Lawler. The Smoking Guns fought the Grimm Twins to a double countout. Sid beat Goldust, and Shawn Michaels beat Vader to retain the title. Let's look at this. South Africa, September 8th in Durban, South Africa. The Sultan beat Aldo Montoya. The South Africans were like, you flew all the way here for this? Crush beat Barry Horowitz. Savio Vega beat Isaac Yankem. The Godwins beat the Rockers. This is
new Rockers.
Yeah, this is a match I don't think I ever actually saw on TV or anything. Interesting matchup. Yokozuna beat Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I don't recall ever watching those two wrestle each other. That would be interesting to see. But this is also like...
Oh, yeah. It's kind of weird that Yoko went over, but... That or was that? Yeah, this was probably during the eat shit and learn to like the taste of it, right?
Well, not just that. Yeah. And also, at this point, this is September of 96. Maybe I wouldn't want to see the match. Yoko's in bad shape at this point. I'm sure this was quick. Steve Austin beat Jake Roberts, Owen Hart beat Mark Marrow, and Bret Hart beat the British Bulldog. September 9th in Johannesburg, Sultan over Aldo, Savio over Yankum, Crush over Horowitz, Godwin's over the Rockers, Yoko over Hunter, Marrow beat Owen, Austin beat Roberts, and Bret beat Bulldog. Then on the 12th of September in Johannesburg, a different card. Horowitz beat Marty Jannetty. Aldo Montoya beat Leif Cassidy. Sultan beat Phineas Godwin. They just broke tag teams up in this card and had them job to Crush fought Savio to a double countout. Austin beat Yokozuna. Henry Godwin beat Isaac Yankum. Jake the Snake beat Hunter Helmsley. And Bret Hart and Mark Marrow beat Owen and the Bulldog. Bret Hart teaming with Mark Marrow.
I'm sure he was happy about that.
Trying to screw me in South Africa, team me up Mark Marrow.
Like, is there a dude that ever went to like the WWF that like just everybody was just like, ugh. Like, do you ever hear anybody in the entire WWF locker room that just like, oh yeah, Mark Marrow is great?
Like Mark Marrow.
Everybody that says anything about Mark Marrow is just like, Jesus Christ, this fucking guy. And I know he got some heat because he got the big. He had a big contract. Mm-hmm. You know, like even Foley, who's like the nicest dude in the world in his book merchandise, and I don't, or like a shirt. Like there's a Mark Marrow shirt, but there's no shirt for Mankind. Right. What the fuck? And Nick's like the nicest dude, and he's like said great things about Mark, but he's like, really? You guys have you have 5 shirts for Mark Marrow and nothing for Mankind.
Nothing for me. You got nothing for me. Yeah.
It's like, really? The fuck.
Marrow and Public Enemy. Those are probably the two that when somebody in the WWF locker room, those names get brought up, they cringe.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Marrow is he's one of those guys to me that's two different wrestlers. Like early Mark Marrow, like the early Johnny B. Bad and the heel Johnny B. Bad, probably until what I'd say probably about till 95, he was pretty kick ass. Like I actually liked Mark Marrow. I liked Johnny B. Bad.
And in his defense, he did fuck up his knees and shit, but it just he was a guy that needed that gimmick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like if, how do I want to say it? It would be like if, and I love this guy, but it would be like if Honky Tonk Man went somewhere else and could no longer now be the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Wayne Ferris.
I
want to see Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
Like his finishing move is the Ferris wheel and everything away from him. It's like, this is lame.
The Ferris wheel. All right, here we go. Raw taped. It is taped at August 20th in Wheeling, West Virginia. And this is the Raw from, it would have been September the 16th. They open the show with brief footage aired of Razor Ramon and Diesel, actually the originals. As Jerry Lawler asked, are they returning to the WWF? He said Gorilla Monsoon was standing by to give the official word. Then a soundbite from South Africa aired. The whole deal with Bret with the Pillman deal. The Sultan beat Jake Roberts. Let's see here. Bob Holly and Alex Porto beat the Smoking Guns. Hey, I like Alex the Pug Porto, by the way. I was an Alex Porto fan. I like that guy.
Yeah, he was a good hand in the ring, and if they would have gave him something other than the Pug, he probably could have been pretty good. Like, it was. I don't know if it's the same time frame for the Pug or not, but he would have been a better partner for Candido than Pritchard.
Yeah. This is because now they become the Body Donnas in like January of '96, and I don't think Porto even came in until June-ish, because that's when they started doing those jobbers with gimmicks deal,
Yeah.
But no, you're right. I mean, I was thinking it while I was looking at that, like he would have been a great Body Donna, even if they would have stayed a team, because by this time I think Candido's gone now too, or just about to be gone. Let's see here. Mark Merrow beat Owen Hart to advance to the Intercontinental Championship semifinals.
And he's probably the guy that wasn't bitching about putting Mark Merrow over.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
By the way, cool news about the Owen Hart tournament and the Owen Hart action figure came out today. Did you hear about that?
No.
AEW is working with Martha Hart and the Owen Hart Foundation, and they're going to have an Owen Hart Memorial Tournament. And there's going to be an Owen Hart action figure released, with the proceeds going to the Owen Hart Foundation.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's awesome. Owen's finally going to get some fucking recognition.
I'll buy an Owen Hart figure.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's really cool. They're going to have a memorial tournament. It'd be awesome if they do it every year. Hell, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. Then in the last match of Raw, Farouk beat Sid to advance in the Intercontinental Tourney semifinals. And that is that.
Wrestler.
What's that?
Owen's kid's not like a wrestler or getting into wrestling, is he?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. All right.
So now we'll move on to WCW.
I don't want to keep harping on the Owen Hart tournament, but this is like the first I heard of it. Pillman Jr. should win it.
I would like that. That would be apropos.
I know it's like, I don't want to say like kind of like he's got he's got connections to it, and I know sometimes in wrestling it's like you don't want things to be like foreshadowed.
No, but sometimes that is what you want.
Yeah, yeah. Let him win it, because I think I think Harry's still with WWF, isn't he, or WWE, isn't he? Even though they haven't been fucking using him at all.
Yeah, as far as I know, he is.
So who else would you have fucking win it? Let Brian Pillman Jr. win it.
Mm-hmm.
Like who else are you gonna have win that? Fucking Darby Allin.
Right. He can win the Sting Memorial Tournament when Sting croaks.
Yeah. And Sting crows.
By that time, be like, that's Darby Allin, Sting's kid. They'll just blur the lines of reality. Just like Paul White was the Giants kid. Fuck it. Turns out Darby Allin's Sting's kid.
Yeah, he just didn't know it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd have Brian Pillman win it.
I can agree with that sentiment. Like you said, who else?
Have him beat MJF in it. Like let that be off the blow off their feud.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know you. I don't want to keep talking about current shit, but I've been watching current shit lately. I'm like, some shit's kind of cool. Like that MJF Brian Pillman feud.
What's that? You froze.
Sorry. I didn't mean to like keep bringing up modern shit, but I've kind of been watching it more because I've been trying to do reviews on the page. I actually like the MJF Brian Pillman feud, and MJF's like the only dude that he's the only guy that fucking understands what you're supposed to fucking be. Like, he is a fucking heel, man.
But okay, I don't mind that they're feuding. I didn't like that. If WWE did what MJF did in that promo this week, the internet would have shit all over the WWE.
I wouldn't have shit on him though.
AEW gets a pass. See, I look at it as I shit on it because I look at it as no different than the Eddie's Down There promo from Randy Orton, and I wasn't comfortable with that. So I can't justify MJF cutting that promo and call it heel heat when I want to say that, that Randy Orton, that was disgusting that WWE did that. I think you could go about it a whole different way. And I'm not even arguing with the fact, obviously it's over. So, I mean, this is just one man's opinion. And MJF is the best heel in the business. I love MJF, but I just was not a fan of that promo. That's all.
The way I justify it is I don't think Brian Pillman would have a problem with somebody going, "Hey, Brian," and looking up to the heavens and then going, never mind. I mean, you're down there. Like, Brian Pillman would have been like, "That's fucking great, man." That's good shit, pal. Like, I think he would have dug it. But,
all right. We'll move into WCW now, and I will start with. I
love WCW news more than I even love the Indies. It's almost one and the same.
It's always crazy. Yeah. Well, September 15th, we had the Fall Brawl pay-per-view in Winston-Salem, North Carolina at the Coliseum. 10,700 people sell out for a gate of 153,914. The first match, Diamond Dallas Page pinned Chavo Guerrero Jr. at 13:10 after a diamond cutter. Let's see. Then Ice Train beat Scott Norton via submission. I think the wrong guy went over there. We talked about a few weeks ago. I did actually like Ice Train, but I think Scott Norton probably should have went over here. But anyway.
Yeah. And Ice Train, I watched Nitro getting ready, and then I took a nap, an unexpected nap. Getting ready for my show Thursday, the year that was. Ice Train was a big fucking cat, all right? Big motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
And if he could have been trained properly by the right people, that dude probably could have been bigger than he was.
Yeah, he had charisma.
Not physically. I'm saying like star-wise.
Yeah.
Like, say WWE would have got that guy in like 96. And like a Ron Simmons could have got a hold of that motherfucker and been like, "Dude, you're big. You fucking look like a goddamn professional wrestler. You have good charisma. We can do something with you." But him out of the power plant, ugh. No.
Conan pinned Juventud Guerrera at 13:53 after a Splash Mountain. Chris Benoit beat Chris Jericho at 14:40 with a top rope back suplex.
Do you remember that Ubi Conan match?
Is this the one?
That's the one where they just fucking walk around outside of the ring like they're fucking lost.
Okay. Well, I know they had a few matches. I wasn't sure if this was the one or not, so I was looking at the actual match, like play-by-play, and you're right, this is that match. Rey Mysterio beat Super Calo after 15:43. Super Calo was cool as shit. I like Super Calo, man.
I like Super Calo too. And it's one of my favorite WCW Bobby Heenan jokes. Mike Tenay says Super Calo was named after his favorite rap group. And then Bobby's like, "Good thing his favorite artist wasn't Diana Ross." Love that goddamn joke.
Harlem Heat with Colonel Parker and Sherry. Look at all that talent right there. Harlem Heat, Colonel Parker, and Sherry.
That's great.
Beat the Nasty Boys when Booker T pinned Brian Knobbs. The Giant beat Randy Savage after the NWO beat up Savage. And then, of course...
Back in the Slim Jims and shit.
And then, of course, the NWO, Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Imposter Sting beat Team WCW, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and the real Sting. All right, so the NWO gets to win War Games, and of course, I always believe Ric Flair's narrative. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff always had to make Ric Flair the fucking loser all the time. So that's that. But this War Games, like the story being told with Sting and stuff, makes this to me maybe it's not quality wrestling wise a great War Games, but I think story wise it's a great War Games.
Yeah,
you know, I mean
the NW, like I always talk about how like WCW and Eric Bischoff and Kevin Sullivan always put the NWO over too much, but the NWO had to win this one.
Yeah.
They had to, and it made sense. And honestly, that fake Sting gimmick initially was awesome.
Yes. That gimmick, and I mean I think he cuts the promo during this Nitro this week, and this whole fake Sting thing, they utilize. Obviously, it wasn't the plan from the beginning, but they utilized the crazy relationship of the first year of Nitro between Sting and Lex Luger to its best during this. You know what I mean? Like Sting's like, when he comes out and cuts that promo on this next Nitro, he's like, "Oh, Luger, I've given you the benefit of the doubt around here for a year. Everybody else told me what a son of a bitch you were, and I've been giving you the benefit of the doubt. And one time an imposter gets out of a limo and you're ready to sell me up the river?
You bitch. I've been fucking supporting you for years, motherfucker."
Sting's character is very well fleshed out at this time, and this whole thing is great. And the whole thing with Sting is great until Starrcade, when they screwed it up.
Fucking butchered it.
Yep. Now we'll get to that in a year and a half or whatever, but more WCW news here. Gene Okerlund's contract with WCW expired last week, and he is no longer with the company. Mike Tenay took over his hotline duties on Saturday and his interviews duties on Sunday's pay-per-view and on Monday Nitro. Okerlund reportedly was making over $400,000 a year, combining a $300,000 base salary with 900 number performance bonuses. After sitting out the weekend, apparently Okerlund and WCW will renew talks later this week, and there is still a chance he will return. He does this a few times with WCW, and I didn't know this until reading some stuff and listening to Between the Sheets but they're talking about like sheet news from like 87 and stuff. You don't realize it, but he played these same games with the WWF. There would be times the contract would come up and he would not sign. But with the WWF, it was easier to hide it because there was a TV taping or something, where it's like 4 or 5 weeks worth of TV and he's still on it. Or, this week Craig DeGeorge is doing the stand-up promos or whatever, you know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, apparently Okerlund was always like this no matter what company he was in. He want to get his fucking shit taken care of, I guess.
Well, good for him, man. Mm-hmm. And why wouldn't you want to have Gene Okerlund doing that job? He was the best at it.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody better at, I don't want to say it, like saving a guy from a goddamn train wreck promo than fucking Mean Gene.
Yeah. Or sometimes if he
lost, I better get him back on track. Gene's the best at it.
Sometimes if he doesn't like the guy, he's also the best at not letting that guy have any rope. You go ahead, buddy. I'm still going to look good in this interview. You might not. Let's see here.
He's the best stick man ever.
What's that?
Commentator. He's the best stick man ever. Commentator wise, I wasn't a fan of Gene when he was on like announcing duties.
Mm-hmm.
But just to interview somebody, I don't know. People talk about Lance Russell, and I like Lance Russell. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not going to shit on Lance Russell. But to me, it's fucking Gene. He's the best. He's the best stick man in the fucking world.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. There's just a couple of news things here. There is talk of WCW starting a full-fledged women's division with Medusa, Nagayo, Hakotu, Reggie Bennett, etc., which they don't ever really... They tease it for a little bit, and they try to get it started, but it never really comes to any fruition. Steve McMichael's one-year contract expired last week. He is looking for a raise comparable to his announcing contract and should get it. He and his wife were backstage at Fall Brawl, but WCW kept them off camera as to not have fans asking about yet another wrestler who didn't save Savage. And somebody, it said McMichael and his wife were backstage. Somebody in that locker room was like, when you sign McMichael to a new deal, you just sign his wife.
That's the best part of that fucking package.
All right, let's see.
Seriously though, dude, in like 96, and I'm not like a blonde bombshell dude, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But in her day, Deborah was fine as shit, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, her character was awesome. I liked her character. Just the shitty Southern Belle.
Yeah.
I was a beauty queen, and I'm this, I'm that, and she's
I mean,
nasty. You know what I mean?
I mean, woman, I know you're nasty, but you don't need like the back, like or she'd give like a backhanded comment, like
yeah.
You're right. She played that character really well, probably because it was an extension of herself.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Monday Nitro on September 16th. Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko opened the program by recapping the NWO's victory in War Games. Schiavone apologized for doubting Sting. Rey Mysterio pinned Juventud Guerrera to retain the Cruiserweight Championship. Let's see here. Good feature aired on Glacier. Diamond Dallas Page beat Ice Train. Ice Train's on a losing streak here. They showed the NWO guys blocking the WCW merchandise table and holding picket signs that read, "Who needs this crap?"
Second nicest wrestler I ever met, by the way.
Glacier?
Yep. That dude was cool as shit. Nice dude.
Let's see. Upon returning from commercial, they showed Sean Waltman sitting in the front row. Tony Schiavone said he used to be 1-2-3 Kid when he wrestled in the WWF, but he has since been released. Conan beat Super Callow with a power drop. Tenay interviewed Waltman ringside. Tenay asked Waltman where he's been. He said he's been in Japan. He asked Tenay who won War Games last night. And Tenay said, "Come on, everyone knows the NWO won the match." And Waltman feigned disappointment. I'm watching, I just got done watching the entire I got a bunch of GWF stuff, and I just got done watching the entire light heavyweight tournament. And even at however young he was when he was in that tournament, because that tournament's in, I think, 90 or 91.
So he's probably like 19.
Yeah, he's so fucking good. I mean, so good, Yeah. Let's see. Brad Armstrong pinned Hugh Morris. I bet that was a good match.
Yeah.
Listen to this. Tenay interviewed Randy Savage, who said, "I'm down to one marble, and if I lose it, Hulk Hogan better watch out." He's lost all but one of his marbles, has Randy Savage. Ah, shit. Scott Norton beat Randy Savage via disqualification when Savage used a chair. Of course, Randy's acting crazy going into his...
He's acting.
Yeah. Glacier beat Big Bubba. Wow, Glacier beat Big Bubba at 16:30. Wow, that's long. That's long. I'm wondering if it's a misprint. Maybe it was 6:30. I don't know. I'm gonna go back and look at this Nitro and see how 16 minutes. Not dissing either one of those guys, but I don't want to watch those two wrestle each other for 16 minutes.
I don't want to watch that at all. 16 fucking minutes.
Up next, Sting came out, cut the promo we were talking about earlier, telling the fans to stick it and WCW to stick it.
That one was cool too because he had his back to the camera.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Like I said, everything about this Sting thing is the nuance and everything. It's one of the best things that, I mean, I don't know if it was Eric Bischoff or Kevin Sullivan or a combination booking this, but one of the best things WCW ever did was this whole deal with Sting. Ric Flair and Arn Anderson beat Marcus Bagwell and Chris Jericho at 10:56. Let's see here. They showed Arn, Flair, and women backstage with a terrified Elizabeth who refused to go to the ring, scared the NWO might attack again. At ringside, Waltman stood on a chair and pressed a remote control that dropped a bunch of flyers from the ceiling. NWO picketers then crowded the aisles. Bischoff said the NWO upped the ante before the pay-per-view last night, demanding that if they won War Games, WCW give them their own TV show. Bischoff said his back was against the wall and agreed. They cut to the parking lot where the NWO stepped out of their limo. Hogan put his arm around Waltman, welcoming him to the NWO, and they all high-fived each other and went back and laughed that everyone bought their trick. And Chris Benoit and Steve McMichael beat Lex Luger via disqualification when Sting no-showed the match. So there you go. That's Nitro. Nitro getting some traction as we're going through here. You know, it's picking up steam. So the only other... Did you have anything else to say on that Nitro? I'm sorry.
No. It was WCW at that point. It was, how do I want to say it? Like, as a kid watching, it was like, WCW might be a little cooler than the WWF. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not better, but it's cooler.
It's cooler. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Eric really hit his stride at this point until when they beat Goldberg, in my opinion. Not even that you beat Goldberg. That might be even too late. Like,
for me, it's from this until the debacle with Sting when they screw all that up.
Yeah,
that's their stride to me. Like that Starrcade deal, it to me it shit the bed, and
and maybe I'm not saying like cooler, but that's when WCW was still competitive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I know WWF got better between like the Goldberg undefeated streak and all that shit, but like, and we'll eventually get there years from now. But that's when WCW just fell off the cliff. It's like, you guys just completely fucked yourselves when you fucking jobbed Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
But
absolutely.
But at this period, WCW as a junior high going into high school, Aaron was like, yeah, man, this WCW shit's pretty fucking cool. WWF, I like it. And the guys on it, I know who they are, and they're the guys I like. But WCW is not boring anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hold on just a second. I gotta pee.
Okay.
I'm back. We're almost done anyway, but I was like, maybe I can hold it till the end.
I pissed off my deck.
Huh?
I pissed off the deck. water the grass.
Damn it. All right.
Did you read my Tommy Dreamer rant?
I don't think so. I don't remember seeing it.
Because and you can include this on it if you want. But I wanted to ask you about it. I was hoping Archie was on here to get his opinion too. I don't think that Tommy getting fired is a like a what do they call it? Cancel culture thing. Is that what they call it? Cancel culture?
Yeah, cancel culture.
I don't think it's I don't agree with it being a cancel culture thing. I think Tommy was a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And I looked at it as because I didn't want to say anything until I watched. Did you watch that Dark Side?
I have not watched it yet. No.
Okay, well, watch it.
I had one of those weekends where it was like close, open, close, that kind of a thing. So I haven't really watched much of anything yet.
What? I understand that, but Tommy basically says that the guys wanted to see Flair be like that, and it was just the boys being the boys, and all this shit. And it's like I look at it as okay. Ric Flair's my favorite wrestler of all time. Mm-hmm. You know that about me, okay? Mm-hmm. Always loved Ric Flair, but Flair doing those actions, I'm not going to hate on him for doing those actions before that situation because in like the 80s and shit, those were chicks that wanted it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they seeked out Flair. Okay, Flair, he does the helicopter. We want to see his dick. We want to do this. We want to do that. Mm-hmm. If some chick's like a willing party of it and then complains of it, I'm going to say, no, you were a willing party. You seek that out. That's right. On you. But Tommy was just like, oh, that was Flair being Flair, and that was the boys being the boys. Okay? No. That lady, I think they said her name was Heidi or whatever. She said that she didn't want that situation put upon her, and she was cornered. And mm-hmm. Flair was saying, "Oh, touch it, do this, do that," and was like putting her hand towards it and shit. And Tommy was just like, that's just Flair being Flair,
right?
And all this shit. It's like, no, that's. I looked at it as like if somebody would have done that to our mom or done that to your daughter and my niece, I'd want to murder that motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'd want to kill him where he fucking stood.
That's
if she got off that fucking plane and said, "This dude cornered me in a goddamn corner of this plane," whipped his dick out and said, "Touch it," and wouldn't let me leave, the first thing I would say was, point that motherfucker out
point me to him
off that goddamn plane, and I'm gonna kill him with my goddamn bare hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Tommy was just like, she's just you should have just settled. Like she settled, so that obviously means she didn't really care about it. It's like, no. You can edit that out, but what I'm just saying is like Tommy, like I'm a like I hate that fucking culture, that cancel culture shit.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, it might have happened. Somebody might have said something like 20 years ago. It's like, oh, now you're gonna bring it back onto him or her or whatever. Guy or gal still did it. But fucking Tommy sat in front of a fucking camera 2 weeks ago and was just like, oh, like before I watched it, I was like, I don't know. But after I watched it, I'm like, no, this guy's a piece of shit. Like I watched it, and as I was watching it, I was mad at what he was fucking saying. Like he spoke about it like that chick had no right in the world to be fucking mad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm probably gonna.
And she legit on the thing said the reason I settled was because I didn't want to put my kids through that.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want my kids to publicly hear what happened to me at that time because I didn't want to embarrass them.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other aspect of it is if the WWF's lawyers at the time were like, we need to settle, that means they read the deposition or whatever and said, we don't need this shit out in fucking public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if Jerry McDivitt didn't think Flair did anything wrong, he would have said, fucking fight it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we beat the federal government. We can beat a fucking stewardess on a fucking private plane.
Mm-hmm.
But I guarantee he read what fucking happened on that flight and was like, holy fucking shit. Whatever money she wants, give it to her and be done with it because we can't win this shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'll watch it. I'll watch it tonight, probably, because I'm off tomorrow, so I can sleep in and
I think you'll have the same fucking opinion that I have. Like, look into it when that chick starts talking. Think about it, and I know you will because you're a good dude. Think about it as like if this was my daughter or my wife.
Yeah.
If somebody would do this to them, it's like when I watched it, Jesus Christ, what this chick went through is fucking terrible. And she was like, if somebody would have done this shit, they would land the plane. Like, she legit said that. Like, she was like, if people would have been doing this shit on like a commercial airliner, they would land the plane. But we're on this plane. It's like, where the fuck do we land it? In the middle of the fucking Atlantic? Like, she didn't say it that way.
Yeah.
She was like, there was nowhere to land the fucking plane.
But yeah,
watching it, I just felt so bad for that fucking lady.
I'll watch it tonight, and then maybe we can either on your show or on the We Can't Wrestle, we'll discuss it. Then that way, maybe Archie will be, because I'm pretty sure Archie will be on We Can't Wrestle from as far as I know. So, all right. Let me see.
But, like when they first said, "Oh, plane ride from hell" on fucking Dark Side, I'm like, what else are you gonna hear from it? But when you actually hear like the civilian stories of it. You're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't believe, because there's a couple of people that said Vince was on it. I was like, I don't believe Vince was on it.
He wasn't on that plane. And people get it confused because they think of that story of Vincent Angle wrestling on the plane, but that was a different flight.
Yeah. And I understand that people get stories conflicted and shit, but I think if Vince would have been on that plane, that shit wouldn't have fucking happened.
Mm-mm. Well, especially if Vince and Linda were on that plane.
Yeah. Like Vince might have been like, and Linda was probably, Linda would have been like, fucking no.
Shut it down.
Shut that shit down. But yeah, it's like, after I watched that, I had a completely different outlook on that fucking story. I was just like, these people are trash. Like, Jesus Christ. Go ahead, sorry.
All right. And we round out the show this week, of course, with ECW, because we have no independent results. And I know if Archie Mitchell's listening to the show right now, he's going, no!
Oh,
sorry,
come on.
Archie couldn't be with us because he's at the casino right now, so sorry, Archie. I'm thinking since I don't have any indie results for you this week, that means it's bad luck at the casino. So Archie will be asking one of us for a loan later this week. Okay.
Can somebody make a meme of Vince? Like put Vince on like Shatner's, like put Vince's on like Shatner's body from that Star Trek movie where he's just like,
Con. ECW news. Shane Douglas collapsed backstage after his match at the ECW arena on September 14th. He apparently injured his neck and back while at the gym earlier in the week. He was taken to the hospital and cleared afterward. He returned to the ECW arena later that night and cut promos until the early AM hours. Kareem, a 480-pound rookie, lost his balance on the top rope at the ECW arena, and when he fell, his leg buckled under him. He broke his leg and was in major pain backstage before being taken away. Kareem, a 480-pound rookie. Do you even know who that might be?
Nope.
All right.
But could you imagine being in severe fucking pain and you're in the fucking ECW locker room?
Yeah. Like, I'm going to get herpes and hepatitis and...
They put me on the floor.
Yeah. What is that sticky stuff?
Why is it damp?
Man, all kinds of injuries here as we're running through the ECW news. Doug Furnace suffered a broken nose. Johnny Smith blew out his AC joint in the opening minutes of his match against Taz. He will be missing this coming week's shows as a result.
And then New Jack smoked up 2 joints.
Tommy Dreamer re-injured his ribs at ECW Arena, but won't miss any dates. The October 26th at the ECW Arena is slated to feature Williams and Gordy versus the Eliminators, and Crawford and Furnace versus Van Dam and Sabu. Let's see here. ECW no longer has a working agreement with IWA. Heyman said ECW backed out, and one of the many reasons is the handling of the ECW tag title announcement, which I don't know what that is. But IWA, we're talking about Puerto Rico IWA, folks, not the current IWA, which is run by Trashbag Ian Rotten. That's the ECW news. There is no ECW TV report here.
But Sabu and RVD versus Crawford and Furnace would be pretty fucking good.
Yep. And so would Williams and Gordy versus the Eliminators.
Yeah.
Even though at this point Gordy's like a shadow of his former self, but regardless. Only one other thing here. We do have one ECW house show on the road, September 13th in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. Hack Myers and Bubba Dudley beat Bad Crew. Johnny Smith beat Supernova. Taz beat Little Guido in a submission match. Crawford and Furnace beat Mikey Whipwreck and Louis Spicoli. Steve Williams beat Devin Storm with the Oklahoma Stampede. And the Gangstas beat Shane Douglas and one of the Samoan Gangstas. Pitbull number 2 beat Eliminator Saturn. Dreamer and Sandman beat Raven and Brian Lee. And Sabu beat Rob Van Dam. So the people that went to the Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania show there sound like they got a pretty damn good show from ECW.
Yeah.
That we're putting a bow on it. That's a wrap for this week, 25 years ago in pro wrestling. Aaron, anything you want to discuss or talk about or plug before we sign off here on WrestleNet Radio?
Not really, except when is this gonna officially air?
Friday night.
By Friday night, which right now it's fucking Monday. Mm-hmm. We still have 11 spots in the Intercontinental Championship Dream Tournament.
And you need to join the We Can't Wrestle podcast Facebook group to get in on that.
Yeah, you win a bunch of free shit. It's decent free shit, but it's free shit. All you gotta do is join, pick an IC champion that hasn't already been picked, put them in the tournament, and then I'll run it, and we'll see who wins it. And whoever wins it goes by fan votes. And if you're not a member of the We Can't Wrestle Facebook page and you're listening to this show, I don't know why the fuck you're not. It's a fun page.
Exactly. And of course, Reliving the Extreme, which the We Can't Wrestle podcast and the Reliving the Extreme podcast, you hear those shows here on WrestleNet Radio as part of our airings every day. But you need to join the Facebook groups, participate. Sometimes you get show participation. We include listener recommendations and comments in the shows. You get you're the first to know that the show dropped with any of the podcasts. And like Aaron said, I mean, there's all kind of stuff always going on. We run contests. We'll put a post up, just to have a discussion. I love my discussion time posts, just a time for everybody to chat and talk about some wrestling. And there is no what do I want to say? There's some Facebook groups, pro wrestling Facebook groups that we won't mention here, where the audience is, a little pretentious, a little holier than thou. And I'm not saying that we never disagree with each other on our Facebook group, but there's never going to be any bullying. There's never going to be any shitting on your opinion. When we have a discussion in our Facebook groups, we're having just that, a discussion. You know what I mean, Aaron?
Yeah.
We might shit on the wrestler, but we're not going to shit on you for your opinion.
Yeah, and it's a free form discussion. We don't censor anybody. We don't say, "Oh, we don't agree with this," or "We don't agree with that." If you have an opinion and you want to state it, just fucking state it. And if you get shit on, fucking own it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
The only time I will ever delete a comment or a post is if it is bullying or hateful. Something to that extent. If you're bullying somebody, if you're being hateful and using hate language or something like that, I'm going to delete your shit and probably kick you out of the group. But other than that, feel free. Say whatever you want.
I've been called, and I'm the best co-host you have. Like, out of all the co-hosts you have, other than fucking Mike Majeski, because he's
John Majeski.
Or John sorry. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Other than Magic, he's more articulate than I am or whatever, and I enjoy when he's on here. Other than him, I'm probably the best co-host you got. And when people shit on me, I fucking own it, and I love it. I was told, you're a hanger-on, and you contribute nothing. I fucking laughed at that shit. That was funny.
Well, that being said, we will sign off here for another edition of Slice of Time on WrestleNet Radio. I want to thank you all for joining me and Aaron And we will see you around. Stay tuned for more. Whatever's airing after this, I don't know. But whatever's up after this, stay tuned. Stick around for more
Does it ever
WrestleNet
go
Radio.
off the air?
What's that?
Does WrestleNet Radio ever go off the radio?
Nope.
Huh.
Nope. It's like Pluto TV. It's just always on.
I thought it might have been like TV in the 80s where it just like eventually like the national anthem plays.
And then it's just silence.
Yeah. It's just like that fucking circle thing with like the Indian. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
The TV was just done.
Yeah. The test pattern. Yeah. No.
Like, I'm the last age of people that understand when TV would just end. Like, TV was just done. Like, it's over. It's time to go to bed.
Well, we will see you next week, everybody, for Slice of Time 25 years ago in pro wrestling. Thank you for joining us once again, and we'll see you next